Let's talk about Indonesia. The island country is acing at geopolitics. 2 days after hosting the Chinese premier, it welcomed the French president. Jakarta is refusing to pick sides in the larger battle and getting the best arms deals. Can Indonesia play both China and France? What makes Jakarta the Indo-Pacific's hottest arms client? And do some countries see China differently than the West? I'm Ananya Dutta, and this is Grey Zone. Once former US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin had said, "What happens in Indonesia matters to the region and to the world." For many, this statement did not have any weightage at the time. But as the Indo-Pacific made more and more headlines, the world started to realize how crucial Indonesia's location is. Indonesia sits at a critical crossroads in the Indo-Pacific. It connects Asia to the vast Pacific, straddling two oceans and multiple power lines. At first glance, its scattered geography gives the illusion of a fragmented nation. But one closer look reveals that Indonesia is the 14th largest country in the world, stretching from below Thailand past Malaysia, Singapore, and the Philippines, all the way to Papua New Guinea. This sprawling reach places Indonesia over some of the world's most vital sea lanes, including the Strait of Malacca, a choke point for global trade. And Jakarta is now waking up to its own strategic value. A new maritime doctrine is underway, modernizing its navy and reshaping its regional posture. Since the late 2000s, Indonesia has chosen a calculated path, cautious diplomacy, and strategic ambiguity. It has helped Indonesia stay in everyone's good books without picking a side. And this was on full display this week. Chinese Premier Qiang landed in Jakarta on Sunday. This was after Indonesia's foreign minister had visited Beijing just 4 days prior. The shuttle diplomacy displayed the priority both countries have been giving each other. The two countries celebrated the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations. But this meeting was so much more about the future than the past.
Last November, during your visit to China, our two heads of state reached an important consensus on building a China-Indonesia community with a shared future with regional and global influence. This has led the relationship between the two countries to a new historical height and opened up broad prospects for our bilateral cooperation.
The point of conversation started by acknowledging the current volatile international situation. Beijing has urged Jakarta to unite and cooperate more closely amid uncertain messaging by the West. Then there was talk of Strait business. Projects like Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway were brought up. It is Southeast Asia's first high-speed rail. It is built in cooperation with China under the Belt and Road Initiative and has slashed the journey time between Jakarta and Bandung from over 3 hours to just 40 minutes. It's the classic infra strategy China uses to expand its influence. The two sides also agreed to expand cooperation in the digital economy. The People's Bank of China and Bank of Indonesia are going to promote bilateral transaction settlements in local currencies. And the most important report came after the Chinese premier reached home. Indonesia is reportedly preparing to acquire 42 second-hand Chengdu J-10 multi-role fighter jets from China. According to Intelligence Online, the details of the contract are still being finalized, but it appears to be at an advanced stage. It's also being said that Beijing is offering very attractive financing terms. Like it or not, the status of China's J-10 single-engine fighter jet has been radically transformed following Pakistan's use of it in the May confrontation with India. This in itself has ramifications for the region and a dream come true for Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto, who has been trying to diversify defense supplies. And speaking of diversification, French President Emmanuel Macron has landed in Jakarta. Indonesia is France's biggest arms client in Southeast Asia and already has placed an order for 42 French Rafale jets. We have reports coming in that one of Macron's agenda in Jakarta is to finalize a new order for Rafale jets built by Dassault and secure the sale of 2 Scorpion submarines by France's naval group.
We are extremely happy to be here in the Team Indonesia. I do thank the Minister of Defense who is excited to meet again with my brother, President Prabowo. He's a great friend of mine, and the relationship with your country is a very strategic and friendly one.
President Macron was welcomed by host Prabowo in the world's largest producer of nickel and also holds the biggest known reserves of the metal. So there is something both sides want. Indonesia is on a shopping spree across rival aisles. There are talks of Chinese J-10 fighter jets, more French Rafales coming in, and reports of Jakarta resuming negotiations to procure Russian Sukhoi 35 fighters. And this is all on top of American F-16s and British aerospace hawks that is already in its arsenal. Indonesia has historically maintained a diversified aviation combat fleet. But this is next level in the current climate. While great powers draw red lines and form blocks, Jakarta is drawing deals, and from Paris to Beijing, it's making sure no door is fully closed and no dependency runs too deep. In a region where the battle lines of the future are being quietly drawn, Indonesia is choosing leverage over loyalty. And this might just be the smartest position in today's Indo-Pacific chessboard. I'm Ananya Dutta, and you've been watching Grey Zone.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.